Absolutely.
What was it like? Did you mention that you was like a military brat or something? Did you
Right,
mention you growing up all over the place, right?
right,
What was that like as a child? Like just growing up, right, and like really not having that structured where at some point, I guess you will have to have like that fearful emotion of connecting and making friends because it's like, well, how long am I gonna have this friend for?
right.
And it's just like middle of the night, pack up, we're moving, we're going over here. What was that like?
Uncomfortable and lonely because by the time you make friends, you're moving again.
Right,
And being the new girl is not always the best thing in every place. You like you don't get the best attention. You don't get the best. You get attention for sure,
right,
but at the same time, you have those people that don't like you because you're new. They don't like you because they don't know nothing about you. So that wasn't. That was very uncomfortable,
right.
to say the least, but also very lonely.
And
Right.
on stressful days, if I may ask, on stressful days, right? When we talk about mental health, you want to go into the mental health real quickie?
Yeah, we could. We could
About
definitely delve into that.
yeah.
That's important.
Okay, on the beat.
All right, all right. It's your brother EB, Success After Lockdown, Anthony Cologne. We with Miss Krystal Scott. Um, and this is our cell therapy session where we go into mental health issues and we talk about how important it is to talk about mental health, especially in our communities. Anthony, talk
Yes.
about.
So before we cut into this, we were talking about the mental health. What is it that you do on a daily basis for like your mental wellness? Right? Like how do you handle that dealing with the life stressors, being formerly incarcerated, being a mom, having that trauma, having whatever diagnosed that you're diagnosed with, right? Like how do you get through every day? What do you do for Krystal to take care of her mental health?
Pray. When I get up, I pray. I spend time with God and meditate. I listen to worship music. I do all of these things before I leave my room because once I leave my room, I've left my peaceful place.
Hmm.
So yeah, every day I spend time with God and meditate. Make sure I get myself aligned before I walk out.
And I say I know it has to be a lot because you know having someone in prison, life without parole, like having and then knowing growing up with a father that was in prison. I also grew up with my father in prison my entire youth.
Yeah,
Mother on drugs. And like I know that it took on a lot for me and I say that because I kind of like kept it dormant,
hmm,
try not to think about it a lot. But then guess what? You you can't escape it. This is it. This is what it is. This is your life. And me going through prison and serving 27 years and 6 months in prison, that was a real eye opener for me as well. And I understand people talk about mental health and and seeking out therapists. I never had one. Um to this day. I, but I'm not gonna shun that. I do understand how important it is, for one to be able to talk about their issues. If you don't have somebody to talk about those issues with, because you kind of keep that inside a lot. Um, from so I definitely understand that. I'm that type of person that my family is my therapist. That's my therapy because I make sure that I talk about everything. And like right now, even with my people that I meet, even with my brother Anthony here, like I talk about everything. You know what I mean? I'm an open book, and I think that helps me too. That helps me too with my
I send you an invoice.
say that again.
I send you an invoice.
Yeah. You don't have one already for a couple of them you sent me.
Yeah,
But
so
yeah,
I mean, right. So when we're talking about it, right, and I think that, to be honest, I think it's something that should be offered to everyone in jail and in prison, while in prison, after prison, right? Because what I found is, just personally for me, when I was dealing with my undiagnosed mental health, feeling that you can be in a room with a bunch of people, friends, and family that you feel the connection with when you're at the moment in the presence, right? But still feel alone. You start to kind of feel and figure out who's really your friends and family when you're away.
Hmm.
And so when untreated, we come home and we don't have that avenue to open up about how certain things affected us, right? Childhood trauma, not being loved enough, not being hugged enough, not being heard enough. The spanking, the woman. We all came up in an era that spanking was a tradition. You
Right.
act up, we're gonna whip your ass. All right. And it was whatever was closest to the parent's hand. If it was a mop stick, a broomstick, or extension cord, the Christmas light, whatever was there, you got it.
Right.
Right? That's a lot of trauma. And then when you go to
Hmm.
prison, then you go from living a somewhat normal world to having to get there in front of another human being in a non-sexual way and strip down and bend over and open up some orifices of your body like a public display. That's some trauma.
Right.
mhm.
Just kind of brush it off and you'd be like, it's chalk it up to the game. It's just a
Right.
process. But that actually can be really traumatizing to a lot of people, especially having those intimate moments, right? And if we're not addressing these things, whether it be, the depression, anxiety, PTSD, OCD, some diagnosed with schizoaffectiveness or whatever the case may be, undiagnosed and not talking to leads a person to act out more.
Hmm.
You're bottling that all in. Right? And if you don't feel that you have someone, and some people find different means of therapy for them, or mental healing. Some go to the gym, some talk to their family. But, in a healthy manner, for the majority of us, I think that we need to find a professional who can sit down, listen, hear us, and see a different perception with a person being non-biased. Because what I
Can I hear your assessment of that, Crystal? How you feel about that?
Um, I have family where I can talk to them. I have my husband that I lean on and give everything to. When I say everything, is the good, the bad, the ugly. But at the same time, I do have a therapist that I talk to on a weekly basis. There's no shame in being able to talk to somebody that can unpack those layers with you so that you
That's
can get
right.
to the root of the problem and be able to fix the issues that you may not have even acknowledged was there. When we bottle it up, we become numb to a lot of different things, and then that causes our body to go into trauma and amnesia, where we start forgetting certain things that haven't even happened, but can illuminate the things that did happen. So I definitely talk to my family, talk to my husband, but I talk to my therapist too.
No question. Now, could you like explain to me, like, your profession and like what do you do and how do you do it? Like, you know what I mean? Like, where you at in life now?
So I do reentry with my reentry services. I am basically a reentry plug or a reentry navigator. So I basically find those nonprofits and the companies that are able to assist with the resources that are needed with those that are going to come to me for their needs. So since I facilitate inside of a jail, I get a lot of different requests and different things that are needed for when they're on their way out or if they're going to prison and then needing things. So I talk to a lot of nonprofits. I have a lot of different partnerships with nonprofits all over the country, not just in Georgia, but all over the country that I can just call and be like, do you know if somebody has this, that, or the third, or do you have? And that allows us the ability to go ahead and provide with what their needs are. So starting
Absolutely.
inside the jail basically to provide outside, but doing both.
Nice, nice. And I applaud you for that. Like, just being on that in that spectrum of helping those that's coming home, that's about to come home, just and those that's still in there, that's still in prison. I don't know if you ever heard of Exodus Transitional Community Services. We based out of New York City's non-for-profit organization. Um, so we're a reentry program.